8.25 miles, 9 minutes, 18 seconds per mile, 132 beats per minute today. Going for an easy race week long run for today. So it's not quite as long as my long runs have been. They're usually around 13 miles, or they have been for the build up for this AK. But since I have the race coming up this weekend, this week's long run goes a little bit shorter. I wanted it to be, in all honesty, a little bit longer than this. I wanted it to be closer to 10 miles, maybe 11 miles. But I had to go to the bathroom, and so I cut the run a little bit short so that I could get home safely, let's say. So, but overall, the whole point of it is just to get out there for a little bit of a longer period of time, keep it still relatively easy, but get the legs moving. Don't change the routine too much and get in a nice, comfortable run, which is definitely what I had today. It snowed a bunch, nothing like what some other places in the country have been getting over the last week, but it snowed several inches overnight here in Chicago. So I thought it would also be another good time to get some, one last time to like run through the snow. Not that we had that much left by the time I was running, but also to just get on some softer surfaces and some different surfaces than the asphalt and concrete that I have been running on. So put on some of the trail shoes, just a light trail shoe, the New Balance Fresh Foam More Trail, which is basically like a crossover shoe. It does really well on paved surfaces as well, and on rocks and on road. So just out there really just having a fun time. Now with the rest of today's video, what I want to talk about is kind of the other prep and plans for the race that's coming up. So the first thing I want to talk about is the race shoe that I'm going to be running in for this year's Virtual Shamrock Shuffle AK. I'm going to be going with the Adidas Adios Pro. This is probably my favorite racing shoe right now. I just really like the Light Strike Pro foam. I like the feel of the carbon that's in here. All together, it's just very springy. I feel like I'm getting a lot of bounce to it. It's a very exciting shoe. It's a lot of fun for me to run in. I've done a couple of the workouts for this build up in this shoe and just had really good results with it. So I feel like it's kind of very confidence inspiring for me at this point to run with this for an AK. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the day. It's a virtual race, so I kind of have a choice of days and time that I can run. I'm normally a morning runner, so I'm going to do this one in the morning. Both Saturday and Sunday are looking to be relatively mild temperature-wise, or I guess about seasonal for this time of year in Chicago. Sunday is going to be a little bit warmer, so I'm looking at Sunday. Temperatures are going to be right around like 39 degrees, 38 degrees. At the time that I'm going to start. So I think that's going to work out really, really well. Not sure exactly what I'm going to wear yet. I'm going to see what things kind of feel like on Saturday and then kind of judge and evaluate from there. But it's going to be windy both days. Now it looks like we're going to have a primarily southerly wind, so at least it's not going to be like a crosswind. But in Chicago, and especially along the lakefront, the wind, the weather forecast might say that it's currently a southerly wind, but who knows what you're actually going to get. So we'll get out there and see. It kind of gives me some idea of how I might start out and plan the route. But who knows what I'm actually going to get. The idea, I think, for me is going to be to just run it in a single line along the lakefront. That way I won't have to worry about too many turns. If I stay on the lakefront, I won't have to really worry about intersections or cars or anything like that. So I might just have to worry about some other pedestrians or other runners and cyclists that are sharing the trail with me. So that should be fine. Hopefully, ideally, there just wouldn't be any wind that I have to worry about. And that's what I'm hoping for. But I have a feeling the wind is going to be the big story from this event, at least for me. Next, let's talk about fuel. It's an 8K, so the fueling is relatively straightforward. I'm going to do a pretty long warm-up. I've been probably like a 2-mile warm-up of easy, and then at the end of that 2 miles warm-up, maybe put some strides in there. So that way I just get the legs turned over a little bit. Maybe even do like a 2 or 3 minute threshold rep. That way I get kind of like those jitters out. I've been realizing through a lot of the workouts that I've been doing in this build-up that the first rep is always just mentally much more exhausting than the rest of them. And so I'd rather get that first rep out of the way and then race starting at kind of rep number 2. So I'm not sure exactly what the warm-up's going to be. I'll do my normal kind of mobility warm-up before I head out, do a long warm-up, and then kind of play it by ear in terms of what I'm feeling as I'm running towards where I think I'm going to be starting the race from. So we'll do that. and then we're off. Take a gel right before I start, and which is probably not necessary, but you know, we'll do that, and then I won't have to worry about hydration or nutrition for the rest of the race because it's 8K. So that's kind of the fueling plan. And then as far as pacing, I think here's where I'm going to go with it. My PR for the 8K distance is 31:59. That's from the 2019 Shamrock Shuffle. That was an in-person race. And then the last time I raced an 8K was a virtual time trial. I did that in Dyersville, around like a concrete loop around some of the soccer fields down there. That ended up being like a 32:07, 32:17, something in that range. So like right around 4 minutes per kilometer, or like that 20-minute 5K pace seems to be about, you know, where I'm at for this distance, or where I've been at for this distance. So I feel like I can do a little bit better than that. So right now I'm going to try to start out a little bit more conservative, maybe 6:26, maybe even up to like 6:30, 6:35 for the first mile, but ultimately trying to get at about 20 minutes for the 5K. And then at that point for miles 4 and 5, then ramp it up and start squeezing it down. Hopefully for those last 2 miles, I'll be at least at 6:15 per mile, if not a little bit faster. But the goal will kind of be to be at like 6:15 for miles 4 and miles 5, with whatever I have left at the end of that 8K for that 5th mile to go hopefully a little bit faster than that. So that should put me, if all goes to plan, that should put me at, what is that, about 22 seconds under, or 21 seconds faster than my 2019 PB time. So hopefully that's something that I'll be able to accomplish on a solo kind of virtual race kind of situation without any, you know, crowd support or anything like that. So it's a little bit different than it was in 2019, but I do feel like I'm a lot stronger than I was then. The aerobic base is certainly a lot bigger than it was then. So we'll see. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about it. I don't feel like that's a super stretch of a race plan for me to execute. A lot of it's going to be about me being disciplined, and then keeping that mental focus on just, you know, eliminating a lot of the noise that tends to creep in when I'm in a longer sustained effort, and just executing according to what I'm able to do. So that's the plan so far. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to put it in the comments down below. I'd love to talk to you guys about it down there. Or better yet, feel free to stop by the live stream that I do just about every day here on YouTube, 3 p.m. Central Time. You can ask me anything you like there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?